I love that. Love the line, a strong and healthy man named Joseph. Very, very good. Don't know about you, I thought that was one of the best nativity retellings that I've seen in a long while. And just to stay with the contributions that the children have made a little while longer, earlier in the morning, you'll remember that we saw a video presentation from some of the children, My Best Christmas Present. And I just wanted us to reflect on that for a little while. And I want to turn that question to you and just ask you, what's the best Christmas present that you've ever received? And it doesn't really matter this morning whether I'm asking that question to you as an adult or as a child. Doesn't matter whether you're 6 or whether you're like me, you're 60. I want you just to think for a moment, what is the best Christmas present you've ever had in your life? I just pause, give you time just to think about that one. I'm so grateful for the upbringing that I had. My parents didn't actually have a lot of money, but I did know that I was loved and that my parents were making big sacrifices to give myself and my brother and my 2 sisters the best Christmas that they possibly could. So I want you to put yourself in my position as a 10-year-old. Or maybe this morning you are 10. Any 10-year-olds in the house, put your hand up, shout out if you're 10 years old this morning. 1 or 2, 1 or 2. What are you hoping to receive this Christmas? Well, when I was 10 years old, I walked into the living room and there he was. It was the very best Christmas present I could ever have received as a young boy. Now, I know the line, and it's true, a dog is for life and not just for Christmas. That's really important. Anyone out there thinking about getting a pet? But let me introduce you to Toshak. You have to be a Liverpool fan from the 1970s to appreciate the true beauty of that name. I think he's about 10 weeks old in this photo. And if you look carefully, his nose is still pink because he's very young. And though he can walk, if you look really carefully, you can see his legs are not yet very stable or very strong. He's sliding all over the place as his back legs on the lino floor don't have the strength that they'll gain over the next few weeks. You'll also notice, if you're very discerning, that my front door is, of course, painted in bright Liverpool red. Anyway, here's another photo of Toshak. This time he's a few months older. I am the blonde one on the left with the really fashionable haircut. Now, I struggle to remember most of the presents I received growing up as a kid. I got lots of games, I got lots of toys, lots of football kits, lots of football boots. They actually all blur together. But when my parents gave me a living, breathing Christmas present, that was completely different. That was the sort of Christmas present that I would never, ever forget. Just think for a few moments of the 2 or 3 things that you're really grateful for this Christmas. For me, I really love creation. I love mountains. I love beaches. At Christmas, I really enjoy cold, frosty mornings when the sun is shining and you can put your coat on and go for a long walk. I love books. I love reading. I love putting the log burner on and curling up on the sofa with a really good book. Most of all, I'm grateful for the people I love, the family and friends that I have. My hope for all of us this Christmas is that we get to spend time with those people that we love. For us as a family, it's a pretty crazy time, Christmas. As well as Christmas itself, we have 3 family birthdays in the next couple of weeks. We have a wedding anniversary, and we've got a 3rd grandchild due. So life is pretty hectic in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But of course, that also gives us lots of time just to celebrate and be grateful as a family. But even better than our closest family member or closest friend is the gift that Gina was talking about. God reveals himself. God gives himself at Christmas. And in the passage we heard just before I began to speak to you, Jesus' closest friend, who's a guy called John, tells us that Jesus was God, but that as God, he also became fully human. Just let me read verse 14 of chapter 1 of John's Gospel. The Word became human and made its home amongst us, and he was full of unfailing love and faithfulness. See, God has given us as his children, as human beings, many, many wonderful gifts. But the best gift of all that God gives us is his one and only Son, Jesus. Because in Jesus, God gives us a living, breathing, real flesh and blood person. Not a rule book, not a set of laws or a manual for living, not a philosophy, not an idea. God gives us himself. Right at the start of the service, we heard one of the most famous verses in the whole Bible. It's John 3:16. God so loved the world. He loved the world this much. This is how he demonstrates his love. God so loved the world that he gave his one and his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. You know, Jesus is fully God. He is God with human skin, God with human bones, with veins, with hair, with eyes, with a nose. John tells us that in Jesus, God came to the very world that he had created. But sadly, John also tells us that the world does not recognize him. In fact, the world chooses to reject him. And 33 years later, after this little baby boy is born in Bethlehem, he's become a man and he's nailed to a cross on Good Friday. You see, you cannot separate Christmas and Easter. Every one of us who's here this morning was born to a human mother, and sometime over the next 100 or so years, we will die. That's the inevitability of human life. But with Jesus, it's different. Jesus' death wasn't just an inevitable consequence of his birth. It was the very reason that he was born in the first place. Remember the wise men's gifts? Gold, frankincense, myrrh. They remind us of why Jesus was born. You see, myrrh is an embalming oil. It's therefore a symbol of death. It's a prophetic picture of why Jesus was coming, that he was coming to die. Jesus dies on a cross to bring you and me into relationship with the God who made us and the God who designed us. We're told in verse 12, to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave the right to become children of God. You see, God became a child so that we might become his children. Let me just say that again. Just think about this. God became a child so that we might become his children. John tells us that through Jesus, we get the opportunity to be reborn. We get the opportunity to be born again. Not a physical birth, but a spiritual birth. The most famous of all the Christmas carols that we sing, and we'll be singing it next Sunday, and it's probably my favorite carol, is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And I'm just going to read the last verse to you as I draw things to a close. Hail, the heaven-born Prince of Peace. Hail, the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. See, this Christmas, God offers us so many gifts. Many of them are listed in that verse. He offers us peace in our chaos. The world is in chaos right now. And God in Jesus offers us his peace. He offers us light in our darkness. The world looks pretty dark right now. And Jesus comes as the very light of the world. He offers us life in all its fullness. He offers us healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental health issues that we're struggling with. But best of all, Jesus offers us second birth. He offers us a new life, a new start, a new hope. But all the gifts have to be received. Imagine if my parents had given me Toshak and I had rejected the gift. I would never have known the joy of that little puppy. So before I finish, I do want to give you opportunity this morning to receive God's gift of his Son, Jesus, right here and now. So can we just pray for a moment? Father, thank you for Christmas. Thank you for homes, for food, for celebration. Thank you even more for family, for friends. But thank you most of all for your giving of yourself. We thank you for Jesus. Thank you that in Jesus you became thoroughly human. You identify with us in every way. Thank you that you died on the cross, that I might know forgiveness, new life. Lord, I receive your gift this Christmas. Through Jesus, you give me the invitation to become a child of God. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, whether you're in the room or maybe you're watching online, I'd love to invite you to come and take a closer look, to investigate early in the new year. In a minute, we're going to listen to a carol with some really powerful words. I'll just read them to you. Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. We get an invitation in that carol to come to Bethlehem, to inquire. Come and have a look for yourself, the writer's saying. Who is this Jesus? Did he really exist? Or is he just a fable, a fairy story? Why does Jesus die on a cross? Does Jesus really rise from the dead on Easter Day? And if this Jesus story is true, does it have any bearing, any meaning, any significance in my life? And as a church, we do an amazing course called the Alpha Course. Literally millions of people around the world have done the Alpha Course. Over the last 6 months alone, 70 people at KCC have done the Alpha Course. And we want to offer you the opportunity to come and explore. Someone will do a short presentation of an aspect of the Christian faith, and then we break up into discussion groups to chat about it. No question is too big, and no question is too small, and no question is off limits. So I want to invite you, come like the shepherds, like the wise men, come and inquire for yourself. And can I take this opportunity to give you a really, really happy Christmas greeting. God bless you.
Amen. Let's stay seated as we listen to this carol.